Hello YouTube, welcome to part 2 of my George Washington versus Napoleon Bonaparte prediction. Alright, today we will be covering the X factors. As we know, or if you don't know, the Deadliest Warrior will be taking more X factors into account than before. It's about time. I think they finally realized that it's a lot about the warrior behind the weapon, which is what they say, but I don't think they really practiced what they preached there. So, they're going to be taking in all kinds of things. I mean, I've heard things like they're going to be taking in diet, what they eat, which I think is kind of overkill, but whatever. Anyway, today I'll just be talking about their generalism, their, how they did in their battles and how they did it. I won't go into great detail. I apologize for that, but you'll get the gist of what I'm trying to say at the end. Alright, first we're going to look at George. George, he was a general during the Revolutionary War in America. They were trying to gain independence from the British, and they did. But we're going to look at George and some of his victories, some of his defeats, whatever. He, once again, I didn't go into great detail, I apologize. He had a victory at Boston, due to a shortage of, there was a shortage of gunpowder in America, so he got American troops to raid British arsenals, and eventually Britain fled Boston. Victory George. Then, unfortunately, he suffered defeat in New York in the August of 1776. And this is the big one. This is where the war ended. At the victory at Yorktown in the summer of 1779, George and his troops ended the war with the help of French troops. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know. Just ironic, I guess you could say. They ended the war. They had gained their independence from Britain, and George became the first president of the newly formed and United States of America. So, I'm not American, so I don't really care, but there you go. Let's look at Napoleon now. Napoleon, he attended the École Militaire in Paris. This is one of the most prestige in the world, and in case you don't know French, École Militaire stands for military school. There you go. He became the ruler of France. He later conquered most of Europe. I'm not going to go into detail about the battles. I'm not going to talk about any battles, because I think saying conquered most of Europe says enough. I'm pretty sure he even went down into North Africa. I remember he went into Egypt, so there you go. I think that says a lot about him as a leader. And just to clarify what really stopped him, the only thing that really stopped him was the Russian winter. The Russians had been burning crops, burning villages, so as Napoleon's army advanced a little too far, they were not able to get food. Their men died of hunger, their men died of diseases, and just the fact that they weren't used to that kind of cold. That's what really stopped them. So now let's talk about the leaders themselves, alright? I don't know a lot about George Washington, but from what I hear, he wasn't a tactical leader. He didn't practice a lot of tactics in the battlefield. His men weren't, trained. But I think what he was a motivation leader, which can go a very long way. Alright, he made his men patriotic. He brought nationalism to his troops. He made them want to win. He made them, not hate the British, but he made them love themselves, I guess you could say. So when you put that together in troops, it really means a lot, right? There's been so many examples of this throughout history. It was one of the main causes of World War I. And so yeah, he was a patriotic guy. He really motivated his troops, and that was why they won the war, in my opinion. Napoleon was a tactical leader, alright? He practiced all kinds of tactics. He, in my mind, revolutionized warfare. He brought tactics to warfare in a time when there was no such thing as tactics to warfare. If you know anything about this time, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, pretty much the same guns, the same stuff, same strategy. If you ever watch the movie, you'll see they just stand in two lines and shoot. There's no movement, there's no tactics, there's nothing. He brought tactics into a time when there was no tactics. He was a great tactician. I mean, he went to the École Militaire. He knew his stuff. He excelled in that school. And like I said, the only thing that really stopped him was the Russian winter. He is now known not only to France, but as the world, to the god of war. If you go to France, you'll see N's all over the city. I mean, the country. Mainly in Paris. And that is Napoleon's symbol. And, so So I mean, you just got to look at it like that. And based on these, I'm going to give my edge to Napoleon. Sorry if you're American and you don't agree, but I give my X Factor edge to Napoleon, and I'm also going to say that Napoleon will win. I mean, it's all there. His weapons, they're better than George's in my mind. He has better X Factors. He has better experience. He was a better tactician, but like I said, George, he motivated his men, he gave them patriotism, and I think that will go a long way as well for George. I think this one will be very close, but I think in the end, Napoleon will pull out as the winner. So, let me know what you think. Leave a comment, like. I guess you can dislike if you want. I don't see why anybody would, unless you really, really, really want George to win. But rate it. Subscribe. It really goes a long way. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I gotta say. If you I'll be doing an analysis after the episode as well, just to talk about whether I was right, if I was wrong, if I agree, if I disagree, and talk about the weapons as well. So be sure to tune in to that. And yeah, see you guys later, and bye.